Hello and welcome to My Left Ear. I'm Carrie Freeman in Southern California. This is a pro-democracy YouTube channel. I promote democracy without terrorizing people, hopefully. And I have a co-host named Petey Freeman, and I asked him to come up here and join us, and we'll see. He will do that sometimes. It's October 30th, 2025, the day before Halloween. So, you know, I am doing this YouTube channel, and after doing it, I thought it was 6 years, but it's 5 years. I just had my 5-year anniversary. I like to tell the truth, but I don't like to terrorize people. I find that a lot of, depends on the podcast, who's doing it, but I noticed some people who do what I'm doing scare people, and I don't believe in that. So I do my best balancing things out a little bit. I also have a section called Opinions Unlimited, and I'll spout an opinion for fun. It makes me feel good. So Opinions Unlimited today wants to eliminate the following commercials. I would like to eliminate the Lumi deodorant commercials because they imply we all smell even though we shower. And to me, it just looks like an interesting way for a company to make a lot of money. No more Lumi. And now they've got this Lumi for men, and they're showing crotches, and it's just, and then there's a dentist who has a commercial about cleaning slimy retainers, and he talks about wearing a retainer at night and it comes out really slimy in the morning. No, thank you. I really don't want to envision your slimy retainer. And the famous Dr. Lundry, who tells you what you cannot eat. All right, so I got that out of my system. I want to share with you, I want to clarify something that's wild, and then I'm going to go right into the runes because I have quite a bit of runes today. And I'll pick up my other comments on the end. But a friend of mine texted me over a week ago and told me that John Legend had come out and claimed that he wanted to try and help Trump. And I was like, what? He's such a staunch Democrat. I was just shocked. So when I had a moment, I've been very busy, I looked this up and checked it out. And there is a big clarification. And I know my friend will be watching this, and I didn't have time to text her. So this is what I got out of an article, because it's really kind of funny and pretty easy to misunderstand John Legend if you don't get the whole story. So it says, John Legend has a message for the president, Trump for Peace Prize in 2026. So he's looking to the future. The singer posted a video on his Instagram yesterday, which was probably a week ago, saying that he believes President Trump should win the Nobel Peace Prize with one stipulation, okay? One stipulation. This is the quote by John Legend. He'd have to stop all this authoritarian dictator, S-H-I-T, all the fascist, S-H-I-T, all the inhumane, S-H-I-T, he's been trying to do. That's what John Legend said. So I was really pleased to find out that it was a joke, it was sarcasm when he said, I'm gonna help him win the Nobel Peace Prize next year. So, okay, so I took care of John Legend, and I'm glad to know he's as smart as I thought he was. All right, I'm gonna move past some news things. I'm gonna go right to what I think probably is important and maybe what you want me to talk about. Come here, Petey. Petey. I can see him. He's on the floor near his toys. But I don't think he's gonna come up today. He's been in a mood because my neighbor moved after 12 years and he was witness to all the noise and her cats, and he's been a little upset by that. You know, if you know cats, they do not like change. And so his behavior's changed a little bit as he's getting accustomed to the neighbor that moved that he was friends with. All right, runes. We keep asking because we really want to know. So I asked, will the shutdown end in November? So I got the first rune, I got Harvest. And Harvest is a rune of beneficial outcomes. It applies to any endeavor we are committed. It says you are committed. I'm saying we are committed. Now, it often has to do harvest with a waiting period of a year, but the shutdown is not going to go on for a year. But it does indicate the ever returning cycles of life and fertility, you know, the loop of life. But it's a rune of hope, all right, and movement. Let's just focus on that, hope and movement. And it does represent new momentum and peace and harmony. So there is some hope here. This thing has got to end. It's got to end. We just don't know the moment or what's going to happen. But it does represent new momentum. It does signify a period of waiting. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to end by the end of November, but it does, and we've been waiting. I'm not going to swear. I just wanted to swear, but I'm not going to swear. But then it means that a time of abundance may come. I don't know if it's abundance, but it might be like restoring some balance because there's been so much loss. So it is a rune that advises patience, but then it does use the word movement and harmony. So it encourages a success. That's hopeful. It tells us to persevere. There's no way to push the river or fight the way the salmon is swimming. But paying attention to these rhythms is a big deal. The maxim for this rune is "this too shall pass," which is always a comforting statement. It says deadlines bring out the best in us. I'm not that sure based on politics, but it talks about taking strategic action when the time is right, and there may be a planning. The Democrats may be planning secretly, quietly, when they may like sort of strike to make something happen. So at any rate, harvest is a good one. I mean, we could have gotten a whole other bunch of runes for that first rune, but we got harvest, and harvest is growth, and it's always hopeful. So I want to remind you of that. This too shall pass. Remind you of that, because that's what this rune talked about. Now I got to tell you, in this particular runes reading today, what I'm doing today, I got a lot of the rune of disruption, and that really isn't a surprise to me because we're being disrupted on so many levels that it's almost incomprehensible. But disruption, and I've edited this because disruption is coming up over and over again, but it does represent change, freedom, and invention. And it talks about breaking free from constricting identification. What's coming in my left ear is this constricting identification that the Democrats have no power. They're running nothing, but they're being blamed for the shutdown. It's the ultimate gaslighting that we've ever seen, all right? But it does, disruption on many levels, and we're seeing it in so many different areas. We're seeing in the president's crippling health matters. We're seeing it with hunger and loss of food stamps, and it goes on and on and on. But it is the Great Awakener, so it does indicate change, disruption, the Great Awakener. Hello, wake up. And in one fatal swoop, this disruption could rip away one's current understanding and perception of one's reality. But I have to tell you, when I look at that statement from Ralph Blum's, I'm also thinking about Jeffrey Epstein. Because when Jeffrey Epstein material blows up, which it will, there's no doubt in my mind, it will be the Great Awakener, okay? And in one fatal swoop, may act by ripping away one's current understanding and perception of one's reality. That really reminds me. So I feel like there's a double message here, because when the Epstein stuff blows open, everything's going to, kind of just blow open. It's going to blow open. And that would be the end of the shutdown and the reveal of the Jeffrey Epstein nightmare and cabal, international cabal. We're going to just find out a lot of billionaires were paying money to assault very young girls. And God forbid, they just need to make money. They don't need to be responsible for anything or their perversions. So we're going to move on here because disruption just keeps coming up. Now, the last rune on, well, this isn't the last rune on the shutdown, but it's the blank rune. There's no message on it. It's blank. And it's called an unknowable. And unknowable rune represents the end and the beginning. So that's what's interesting about it. And it requires our total trust. Like, we're just supposed to trust and have faith that there's an ending coming to this shutdown. It's already devastated people. It continues to devastate people. Lines and lines around the blocks for military people getting some groceries. I gave groceries out a few days ago. I went to a food bank and I delivered some groceries. I just couldn't take it, just what's going on. So it portends a symbolic death. This disruption, this shutdown, so a death of something, and certainly there's going to be a death when the Epstein stuff blows up. So we continue on here with the unknowables, the symbolic death. It's about relinquishing control, which is a challenge for virtually everybody. But within this blankness, this is the good news, there is undiluted potential. And there may be progress. There really may be progress where the Democrats that are fighting for us are able to make a dent in helping people. I mean, pray for it. Just pray for it. So I picked a clarifier for this shutdown answer. And I got harvest again. And harvest was the one we began with. It's a rune of hope and continuous movement. It represents new momentum. And it also signifies abundance is coming. So I'm not going to reread the whole harvest thing, but this about the shutdown, it started with harvest and it ended with harvest when I picked a clarifier. I think maybe we're going to get this handled in November. And somebody may come up with a big, like, let's say the GOP are getting scared and they're trying to figure out how they can do this without losing face or being embarrassed. Now, this is something personal, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I will, when I am like washing dishes or I'm in the shower, I will get stuff that comes through my left ear. And I got this, message hit that we're going to lose a rock idol that we all love and someone who's been around for a long time. And that you know, that's not like super psychic or predictive, because there's enough rock idols that are older now. But it came in big, and it came in like a wrecking ball, you know, like the song that we're just going to go, what? And be shocked. And it's going to be sad. And I have a feeling, I actually even know who it is, but I'm certainly not going to say that. You know, I'm going to write it down, and if this happens, I'll tell you about it. But when I asked the question, I got the rune of disruption. Could be so powerful as to rip away the fabric of what you previously knew. It indicates disruption on many levels. And so disruption makes me think, yeah, I think I'm correct about this. So be prepared. Then I got protection reversed, like the person isn't protected, and it says pay attention to your health. And also look carefully at the associations you form at this time. That made me think, could there be an overdose involved? I don't know, but it ran through my mind. And be aware of people that may be using you. And of course, we've heard that story a lot in the entertainment, when someone's an icon and people want to use them. And no, I don't think it's Taylor, okay? It's someone much older. Then I got disruption again. So we'll just wait and see, and I'll keep you posted. And if someone passes, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to write it down. And I don't mean to be, I don't know, coy. I just don't think it's smart for me to make a prediction like that. I think it's very, like, unprofessional and not responsible. I think you understand. All right, here's a hit I got. You might have seen this also, but I saw a picture of Usha Vance maybe a couple of years ago, or a year ago, and she's a really pretty woman. You know, she's a very accomplished attorney, but she was vibrant, and she had bright lipstick on and beautiful smile, and I'm like, why did she marry J.D. Vance? But I understand that she thought she had hit the jackpot. And I don't mean that in an opportunist way, like, oh, I found my guy kind of a thing. But I saw a recent picture of her, and she looks like a different person. She looked gray, like she just was the color gray in the picture I saw. And she looked devastatingly depressed. She wasn't smiling. She looked, I was really shocked at what I saw. And what came through to me is, the question, I'll be careful, is Usha Vance a victim of spousal abuse? Because that's the first thing that came. She is having a terrible time in this marriage, and possibly because of his stress, he's mistreating her. And possibly because of the whole immigration thing, and he's married to an Indian woman that he's kind of rejecting. And anyway, so what I got on Usha was the rune of growth and rebirth. This has growth and rebirth, but the rune itself is called growth. And so this rune fosters growth, both symbolically and actually, literally. It may appear in the affairs of the world. Well, she's way up there in the affairs of the world now, who she's married to, both symbolically and actually. This rune leads to blossoming and ripening. And it says, consider your issue with care and awareness. Dispense resistance. And here's interesting. Cleanse out dark corners. Cleanse out dark corners, Usha. And then move to accomplish your work. And this rune talks about growth is concerned with the flow of beings into their new forms. Well, then I got the rune of flow, which is water, which conducts. Flow is good. Unseen powers are active here. These are powers that nourish, shape, and connect. It's an ebb and flow of emotions, careers, and it does talk for a time of cleansing, reevaluating, reorganizing, realigning. It's a deep transformation, self-transformation. And then I got the rune of journey, which is like moving forward, in the reverse position, all right? So it puts her on notice to be attentive to personal relationship. And at this time, ruptures may be likely more than reconciliations. The fact that I got journey reversed indicates to me that she's either having a hard time moving out of this situation, which I can't imagine how difficult it would be. And it says that they're probably ruptures as she tries to make, because imagine all the political operatives that will come down on her and beg her to stay and not leave J.D. Vance because of they want him to run in 28, or they think he'll run in 28. Who knows? He can't win in 28 once he inherits this presidency, which I know he will. The president's days are limited, and the pressure on her, you need to do this for the party, Usha. You can't do this. Everything's gonna come crashing. We've never had a divorced, president. And so a lot of, it says that her growth may totally be disrupted by what she had intended, and the outcome may elude her. So I think that I am correct. I think she's in a deep depression. I think she's receiving some kind of abuse, if not physical, emotional, mental. Because also, I do my best not to watch J.D. Vance, but sometimes I'm in the bathroom and I'll hear something, and he's using a lot of foul language now, and he's saying, I don't give a blank. And he made some comment about not giving a blank about anybody dying on those boats that have been attacked by the U.S. that most likely are fishermen and not a drug cartel. But his speech has become very hostile and very angry. And I can see that going home with him. But the look, how Usha looks, is like a hostage, to be honest with you. And then I believe this is my last rune question that I think people will be interested in. Stephen Miller, the question is, hold on, it blew up on me. You know how it does that? Okay, let's get this back so I can read it. Okay. Will Stephen, the Nazi, Miller, see jail time? So he got constraint. He could use some constraint to the self. And it says we have our dark little places that have been closed off and not allowed any fresh air. Well, that's been going on with him like since he's a teenager. That this constraint shines a bright light into those corners. And it says it is sure that you are going to be challenged on an intimate level. And this rune says, know thyself. Well, he really doesn't. He doesn't know the depth of his rage and hate and his childhood issues. He doesn't know. He's just another one with a lot of personality disorders, and he's vicious and he's angry and he's very, very ambitious, like Pam Bicious. So this is a joke really, but it says the advice here is work with your shadow self and find out what in you is magnetizing misfortune, which means he's going to experience misfortune. He's going to be brought up on charges. And I'll tell you another reason I say that. He got disruption. Disruption is all throughout. And I think picking so many disruption runes, it just proves to us how disrupted we are overall right now from so many different angles coming at us. So once again, I'm not going to read the whole disruption because I've done it so much. Watch about it ripping away the fabric of you previously knew. So you probably live in a really nice house, Stephen, with your Nazi wife, and you may move to a prison cell with a very hard mattress. And if you're lucky, there'll be a pillow. So it talks about failing in this disruption. Plans may go awry, money may dry up. And it says avoid new starts. Well, he's not going to be able to do new starts. You know, when he gets indicted, it's all going to be about defending himself and trying to stay out of prison. So the last rune was interesting for him. He got the rune of the self, which sometimes is elusive. But in this case, it talks about know thyself. Understand thyself. Work towards actualization. That is not his MO, actualization. He's not going to look within. He's not going to get internal. But it does say, time to go inside, Stephen, and search for your true essence, which is some kind of terrible pain and trauma, to seek the true you. He's not going to find that, all right? I'm going to tell you right now. He's defined. He's a package. I don't think he's going to have a come to Jesus moment in his life. It advises, know thyself, nothing in excess, and beware of seeking too much personal joy. I want to add too much personal joy in the light of other people's pain and loss, because he's a sadist. And remember that you are connected to the whole of the human race. He doesn't want to be connected to the whole of the human race. So he's looking at a time of personal growth and development, which he doesn't want, which will be very painful. I'm telling you this. And there is a very good chance he's going to have tremendous legal trouble. I didn't do runes on it, but I question whether J.D. Vance will get, assuming he takes over the presidency, he may get rid of Stephen Miller. He really may. Okay, but I could do a rune on that. I'm not going to do it right now. So I have an interesting quote, and it's. I've had this book for years, and I've had this quote for years, but now that we've been dropped into the middle of a cult in our country, like a nationwide cult, even though there's more Democrats than Republicans, they're loud and they're violent, many of them, and ugly. So there was a book a long time ago that I bought. And I'm going to change one word in the book. All right. You'll know it. And the book is entitled, If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Unalive Him. So the book actually says K-I-L-L, but I'm not going to use that. All right. Unalive. So and here's a quote from the book that I think is such a great caution about making anybody our Lord Master, God, Buddha, leader, Jim Jones, anybody. So listen to this, because it really applies to now. If you meet the Buddha on the road, unalive him. This admonition points up that no meaning that comes from the outside of ourselves is real. The Buddhahood of each of us has already been attained. We only need to recognize it. Philosophy, religion, patriotism are all empty idols, is what the author said. The only meaning in our lives is what we each bring to them. So unaliving the Buddha on the road means destroying the hope that anything outside of ourselves can be our master. No one is bigger than anyone else. There are no mothers or fathers for grown-ups, only sisters and brothers. Only sisters or brothers. Now, for people that are listening to this who are deeply religious, Christian, Catholic, this is not meant to offend you. It's a reminder about putting one's faith into thieves, traitors, evildoers, as George Bush called them, that putting all kinds of people up on pedestals, including the current president, is a fatal mistake. They're only sisters and brothers. It's very equalizing. So I'll have to see what people say about this. And maybe somebody had heard of the book. I didn't even read the whole book. I went, this is all I need to read. This is what he's trying to tell us, but he wrote a whole book. No mothers or fathers, just sisters and brothers. And then the good evidence is about as simple as it can get today. Petey and I have plenty of food. Petey and I have a home and a refrigerator, which died yesterday, but it came alive again. And I donated groceries. It felt good to donate groceries. Really practical things that people can use, and cans of things, and it just felt good. And if you can, buy some groceries and drop them off at a food bank. It's how we can all help each other. It's really a terrible sin that anybody is hungry, and any child is hungry, and somebody has to give up medicine in order to buy some peanut butter. It's very, very painful. You know, this is just an anecdote, but if you've been watching me for a while, then you know I grew up in a family that was very transient. My dad was a nightclub comedian, and that's all he ever did. I mean, he never sold shoes, nothing. He just pounded out this career as a nightclub comic because that's what he loved. So my parents didn't have much money, and we moved from many cities to many cities. And my mother I inherited some of this, which is terrible, but my mother was always afraid of, we don't have enough money, what are we going to do? We don't have enough money, what are we going to do? And I grew up with that. But my father used to say, I don't care how much I'm working, how much money I'm making, we will always have good food in this house, no matter what. We will always eat good food. And he was really passionate about that. So, you know, obviously he's gone, my mother's gone, but I take with me the sin of hungry people, and that's what's going on now. So the good evidence is I'm eating, Petey's eating, you're eating, and I'm grateful for that. Because what if we weren't? What if we weren't, you know? So anyway, more's coming. So much is coming in the next 2 months. This is, you know, my neighbor moved after 12 years. And after 5 years, after she decided to move with the help of her family, she finally got disability insurance approved, and she'd been trying for 5 years. So when Albert Einstein said nothing changes until something moves, and I give a lot of advice about just move one thing, just do one thing, and it opens up the energy. Well, she's kind of a good demonstration of that. So she left very happy, and I'm looking at an empty apartment across the way. I wonder who's going to move in. But so she left, and things are just coming to an end, and this is going to be a very, as we enter November 1st on Saturday. So we hang tough, we hang together, we take breaks, we take naps to get away from the bad news, and we wait on the will of heaven, and we wait on the good news that's coming, the changes that are coming. So I say peace and blessings, and make some good trouble, make some good evidence, and I'll talk to you soon.